Well, good morning. General Padilla, Ambassador Yamamoto, distinguished guests, students, graduates, and more importantly to all your families. Thank you for the opportunity to be here to share just a few moments with you. You know, when I prepare for commencement addresses like this one, I reflect back across the numerous times that I sat in your seats. And if you ask me to catalog the names of the commencement speakers who presented speeches at my graduation, I would have a really hard time. If you went a step further and asked me to relate what they actually said, that would be exponentially more difficult. And so following General Padilla, I note that he's used most of the material that is in my prepared remarks. Actually, I'm only half kidding. He did a fairly good job of it. What I would like to do today is first offer some thank yous. Second, give you one piece of advice. And third, reflect a little bit on the world as you will find it and how you might use the skills that you have gained over the last year, that many of you have refined over the last year to help make this world a little bit better place. And with those three things, I will be done and we can get on with your commencement ceremonies because I know that's why you're really here. So first of all, I would like all of you to look around and offer one more thanks to the faculty and staff and the Board of Visitors and the Foundation at National Defense University that make all of this possible. For those of you who napped through afternoon class or caught a moment of quiet silence with your head down on one of the tables in the library while you said you were learning things about strategy, these are the people that made it possible. The faculty, the staff, the mentors, the officers, the people in this institution that make it all possible. And so if you would join me once again, I would like to say thank you to this magnificent group of people. The second thing I'd like all of you in the middle to do as soon as I'm done and as soon as you graduate and walk across this stage and spend some time with the rest of the people in this tent is say thank you to the people who got you here. And we are all here because our families let us do what we do. Our families make it possible for us to take on the responsibilities that we voluntarily take upon ourselves and our families who did not volunteer as members of the militaries and the governments of our nations. And there are many of you in this audience that deferred other plans to come here. I love that sound. You deferred other plans to be here. Some of you delayed retirement. Some of you took assignments you might not have anticipated. Some of you will end up in command. Many of you will end up on joint and combatant command staffs. All of you will be called to leadership, and none of that would be possible if your families weren't in this with you. So if you don't lay your head on your pillow tonight and quietly whisper to yourself, I am a lucky man or I am a lucky woman for the people in my life who make this possible, you are not paying attention. So that's one of my challenges today. When we're done, when you walk across this stage, go thank the people that are most important to you because they deserve it. So would all of you please join me in thanking your families for making this possible? Finally, I'm going to repeat what General Padilla just said. All of you form a network of critical thinkers who have learned together, who have debated together, who have grown together. And you are a network unlike any other network in the world. You can trust each other with the advice you will provide to one another. I am evidence that classmates matter. When I have a tough decision to make and I have no other place to go, I reach out to my classmates and I ask them for their help. In fact, I'm quite fond in audiences like this of giving out my cell phone number, which I'm not going to do today. And I say, if any of you ever need help, you just call me. My first question will be, have you talked to all of your classmates from I will pick the school? because I will likely know where you were educated. It's that important. This network of friends and colleagues and mentors is unlike any other in the world. Keep it alive, and only you can do that. I like to say that I'm incredibly lucky because every day I get to put on the uniform of my nation. I get to go to work and do what I love. And that's lead soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines, Coast Guardsmen, and civilian employees, and this endeavor of protecting freedom and liberty. I didn't know I was going to love doing that. Nobody grows up thinking they're going to love leading people. We learn to do it. But I'm here to tell you, you all know this, it kind of gets into your blood. And once you've experienced it, it doesn't go away. It is not true that every day I love what I do. But it is true that every day I do what I love. And you share that with me. And so I would ask you to give every bit of your intellect, every bit of your energy to being the advocate for those people that depend on you, the men and women that wear the cloth of your nation, the men and women that are part of the structure of governance that makes this world a better place. You are uniquely qualified to do that because you have learned to think about this world as it is, not as you wish it could be. You have learned to think strategically about the forces that are shaping the world today and how you can use all the tools that we have to help shape it into the place we want it to be. But you must start with the world as it is. And 75 years ago, General Shinseki pointed this out a couple of days ago when he was inducted into the Hall of Fame. 75 years ago this week, our nation faced just such a challenge. It was a military challenge, an operational challenge, but it took military leaders with a strategic vision to navigate through it. It was the battle for the Pacific Ocean, and the particular battle we talk about this week is the Battle of Midway, which Franklin Roosevelt described in his State of the Union address just about a year later as the pivotal turning point in the war in the Pacific. Chester Nimitz, who led the fight in the Pacific, attributed that victory to a joint effort. He didn't know to call it a joint effort, but here are the words he used. Through the skill and devotion to duty of the armed forces of all the branches in the Midway area, our citizens can now rejoice that a momentous victory is in the making. Those leaders who faced that fight in the Pacific did not view the world as they wanted it to be. They accepted the world as it was and applied the tools of military power to shape it into the world it could be. Those are the tools that you have learned over the last year. And so I would say in that space, you had leaders and innovators who are doing both at the same time. I'm completely unapologetic in my emphasis on innovation in our armed services and in our government. It is the intersection of leadership and innovation that changes the way we do what we do in the conduct of war. So look at the world we face today. Russia and China have emerged as extremely fast followers. They've studied our way of war. They know how we fight, and they are trying to catch up fast. We have an opaque North Korea and an equally opaque Iran that present challenges in both the Asia Pacific and the Middle East. That's the world that's out there today. Our job, your job, as leaders in our government and leaders in our military and the militaries and governments of your nations, is to figure out how to maintain a comprehensive military advantage so that the military tool of national power is available to provide options to our leaders to shape the world in the way we want it shaped, to achieve the outcomes that we believe are necessary to preserve freedom and liberty. You, ladies and gentlemen, are uniquely qualified to serve in that space. And so here's my challenge to you. Be relentless in your assessment of the world as it is. Be honest in your assessment of how we can apply the tools that exist to shape that world and be realistic in your aspirations for what you can make the world look like. And if you can do those three things inside this process we call the development of national policy and national strategy for whatever nation you serve, you can help. You can help defend freedom and liberty around the world, nurture it, and spread it. But that is a consequence of starting with the least number of assumptions you can about how good you can make this place, and be determined about applying the tools you have to make it a better place. So in that context, I would challenge all of you to create an environment where the soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, Coast Guardsmen, and civilian employees who work for you can question conventional wisdom, can bring new ideas forward, can be allowed to experiment with ideas that would change your institution, to give you and our leaders more options in an increasingly complex world. It is my deep, abiding belief that because of the education you have received here at National Defense University, you are uniquely qualified to do this work. So my challenge to you is, giddy up, let's get to work. Because I need your help. We all need your help. I would be remiss if I didn't ask you to remember all of the soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines deployed today who are standing watch, who are flying in harm's way, who are on patrol, who are out there doing the work of our nations to protect freedom and liberty. Because they are the people we are here to serve. I will close by saying that the chairman really wanted to be here today. I spent an hour on the phone with him last night on his way back from Australia for a meeting at the Osman Ministerials. He is just now getting to work after having spent a week doing diplomatic and military duties abroad. He asked me to personally send his congratulations on your graduation, and he knows that today will be a day of celebration for all of you. Thank you. God bless you all.